Welcome to OCA, a special podcast for special people. Our mission is for OCA to enable individuals and families with autism or other disabilities the opportunity to maximize their abilities. Over the past 15 years, we have grown from an idea to a full community of professionals serving the Central Florida community. We're excited to share our favorite memories, tips, and experiences with you. And we hope to inspire you to get involved too. Ready to get started? Let's dive in.
Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Silvia, CEO of OCA, and I'm so glad you're back for another episode.
And I'm Margaret, COO of OCA. And today we have a very special episode because we are celebrating. This year marks 15 years of OCA, and to start this celebration off, we want to share with you the real story of where we started and how OCA got to where we are now.
So, Margaret, let's tell the viewers the real story.
Okay.
And the real story started back in 2008 when you came into my home to work with our son, Matthew, and you were witnessing something that you knew was not acceptable for families. So why don't you share with people what it was you were seeing out in the community?
So I have worked in disability services for 22 years, almost 23 years. And part of that journey was working in residential services. And residential services are a double-edged sword because it's absolutely a necessity, but a lot of the times the people there don't have options. So it may not be the quality of service that I would want for a loved one of mine. So in working in residential services, I just saw a lot of the challenges, not only as a staff person, but for families and participants. There was just sometimes lack of choices. You don't get to choose your roommate. You don't get to choose your breakfast. You don't necessarily get to engage in the community in ways that you would like. And it made me very sad and defeated, which is one of the reasons that I really left residential services altogether and went into teaching, which is where we met.
It is where we met. And I can just remember you coming in and seeing your frustration. Both my husband and I could feel your frustration. And you legitimately looked at us and said, you are helping to support your two older children and their future. What about Matthew's? Where is he going to live? And I can just remember looking at you and saying my house address, and you looking at me and saying I was being ridiculous. And I think for the audience that you all need to know that one thing that Margaret brings to the table every time is not what's happening right now, but what could the future really look like? And it resonated. And in 2008, the economy was in a recession. The school system had said, because we have to make cuts, we are not going to offer extended school year. And for all the families that we had been working with at the charter school, there was a huge panic. And collectively, the founding sisters came together and said, we've got time, we've got talent, we don't have treasures, but here is what we could bring to the table to help to ease the burden for our families. And so we came up and we said, hey, we can do Special Olympics training. We can do summer camps. And again, one of the things that you kept talking about and you just mentioned was choices. And you really felt it was so important that our guys would have choices out in the community to do what their typical peers were doing. And so it was really critical that we had what we called our Saturday events. And that's really how everything happened. And I think, one of the things that was beautiful and has been part of our story is that in December of 2008, we kind of had a town hall meeting at our basketball practice. And we're telling the families, hey, here are the things that we're thinking about doing. And lo and behold, one of our parents raised their hand and said, hey, all of this sounds great, but I'm getting older. Where are they going to live? And at that moment, that's when we all looked at each other and said, gosh, we better form a nonprofit. And so Orange County Athletics was formed, better known as OCA. And so that's the real story of how OCA was formed. But the more beautiful story has been what has happened since the 501c3 was incorporated to where we are today, 15 years later. So I don't know about you, but why don't you tell the audience some of your favorite stories of watching how we've evolved and what we've done that has been so amazing.
So for those of you that don't know me very well, I'm not an athlete, and Silvia tried to turn me into one, and that made me truly believe that all things might really be possible. So we dreamed really big, especially in the beginning. We dreamed really big. What could we do? And that's one of the reasons that we have grown, is because we have not been afraid to take on the unknown and fail forward, as we've learned to call it. So we started with just 2 weeks of summer camp, and you guys spearheading the Camp Shriver, which is still in existence today, a program that helps families in that summer time. Really tremendous program. But every time we had a little success, it just gave us some more passion. Going from summer camp to a year-round recreation program that provided behaviorally trained staff was life-changing for us and for our entire community, because for the first time, a lot of families that had never been able to receive services and had never had a safe place for their child to go finally had some help. And from that, it just kept going. Our Saturday events got bigger and bigger, and then we had individuals that started graduating. And now we have an adult program, and that adult program started in one direction, and each challenge became an opportunity, and now we have an adult program with 3 directions. We have new programs on the horizon, and we've gone from the triple wide trailers.
Modular units!
But we went from 1 room and 1 office in the modular units to taking up all of the space in the modular units, to outgrowing those spaces and coming and forming a partnership with another nonprofit that allows us to continue to grow and to continue to challenge ourselves. And here we are.
And it's hard to believe that when we first started out in 2009, when we formed the partnership, we were servicing 19 families. And today it is over 600 families have come through our doors. We have had over 500 volunteers between Special Olympics, Running Man Theater Company, Summer Camp Program, our adult program, come through the doors to impact our families. We've had college students who came in saying that they were going to be an engineer to now that they're either a music therapist or a special education teacher. We've had pre-med students who are doctors, and all of them keep coming back to or refer people to us because they know of the impact that we make on our community. And to me, those are things that just really help to continue to tell our story, right? To your point, we thought this one small venture, and it's really much bigger than us. And I think you and I, about 2015-16, thought, yeah, this is way bigger than we ever thought, because the need was so great. And that need continues to be great. And I'm just excited as to what we will continue to bring to the table. You briefly have touched on that we're getting ready to expand some of our programs, and that will be shared in our podcast and through our social media. And that's a very exciting time. It's hard to believe that 15 years have gone by, and we cannot wait to continue to celebrate with all of you all year long. So stay tuned for more fun.
And thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. We can't thank you enough for spending a few moments of your day with us. If you want to find out more about OCA, log on to gooca.org, follow us on Instagram at OCA4U, and follow us on Facebook at OCA, a special place for special needs. To donate, head to gooca.org/donate, and to make a free and immediate impact, leave a review of our podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and share it with a friend. See you again soon for another episode of OCA, a special podcast for special people.